Rain hit the leaves like tiny drums. The forest was deep and quiet. Trees older than time stood tall like giants, their roots tangled like sleeping beasts. The air smelled of wet soil, moss, and something strange, something not human. Captain Eric Rowan walked alone, his boots sinking into the soft red earth. His ship had crashed a day ago. The rest of the crew was gone, dead or missing. Eric was now deep inside a jungle that wasn't marked on any star map. It wasn't Earth. It wasn't even close. He had one flare left. No food. His suit was damaged. Oxygen was low. Still, Eric didn't panic. He was a soldier, trained for war. But even he knew this place wasn't normal. He stopped beside a giant tree. Its bark was black and twisted like burnt bone. He looked up. There she was. A girl stood on a high root, looking down at him. She was tall, taller than any woman he had ever seen. Her skin was smooth and glowing deep blue. Her golden hair flowed like silk over her shoulders. Her eyes shone like moon's bright silver, full of something ancient. She was beautiful, too beautiful. Like a dream made real. Eric raised his hand slowly. "I'm not your enemy," he said. The girl didn't blink. She jumped from the root, landing softly in front of him. Her movements were silent. Her feet didn't crush the leaves. She moved like wind. Then she spoke. Her voice was soft, calm, but strong. "You are not from here." "No," Eric said. "I crashed. My crew, they are gone," she said before he could finish. Eric froze. "You saw them?" "I saw death," she replied. "And fear. But you are different." He didn't know what she meant. He tried to ask more, but she turned and began walking. After a few steps, she looked back. "Come," Eric followed. He didn't know why. Maybe he had no choice. Maybe her voice made him trust her. Or maybe, deep down, he was already lost and she was the only light in the dark. They walked in silence through giant roots and strange glowing plants. Birds with glass wings flew overhead. Small creatures with many eyes stared at him from the shadows. Finally, they reached a circle of massive trees. Their trunks were wide like houses. In the center of the circle was a pool. The water glowed softly, like it held stars inside. The elf girl knelt beside the pool and touched the surface. A ripple moved across the water, and images appeared, images of fire, war, and a falling star. Eric saw his own ship burning. He saw soldiers dying. Then he saw something else, himself, holding a baby with glowing blue skin. He stepped back. "What is this?" She looked at him. "A vision." "That's not possible." "It is." "Why show me this?" She stood and faced him. "Because I chose you." Eric stared. "For what?" The wind moved her hair. She stepped closer. "My people are dying. We were strong, wise, connected to the trees, to the earth, to the sky. But now, only a few of us remain. We can no longer make life. I don't understand. You are human, strong. Your blood is wild. Your spirit is unchained. I have watched your kind. You survive, you fight, you protect. That is what I need." He stepped back again, confused. "You mean children?" "Yes," she said calmly. "A son, strong, wild, born of both worlds." Eric looked into her eyes. They weren't cold. They weren't cruel. There was sadness, yes, but also hope. She didn't beg. She didn't demand. She simply stood, waiting for truth. I can't," he said. "I don't even know your name." She smiled for the first time. "My name is Alira, and I didn't ask now. I showed you what can be." Eric stood still, not sure what to say. His heart beat faster, but not from fear. Something else stirred in him, something deep, old, and full of fire. He looked around at the forest. It was alive, watching. Alira touched his hand. Her fingers were warm. "There is more to see." Without waiting, she walked ahead into the chiving to the unsamwonsen and into the mighting. She walked ahead into the fading. She walked ahead into the fando trees. Eric followed her into the unknown, the pool's light fading behind them. Something had begun. He didn't know what, but it was no longer just about survival. It was destiny. Asterisk. Eric followed Alira deeper into the glowing forest. The air became warmer, thicker, filled with strange scents, sweet flowers, wet stone, and something else, like fire waiting to rise. The forest was quiet, but not empty. He could feel it. The trees seemed to move when he wasn't looking. The leaves whispered things he couldn't understand. He had so many questions, but Alira didn't speak. She walked ahead, barefoot on moss, and root, her golden hair flowing behind her like sunlight. Eric noticed how the plants moved out of her way, as if they knew her. She belonged here. He did in single quotes t. After some time, they reached a place where the trees opened into a wide clearing. In the center was a stone circle, covered in old runes glowing faint blue. Alira stepped inside and placed her hand on one of the stones. A soft hum filled the air. The runes came alive. "This is the heart of my people," she said. "Our ancestors built this. It remembers everything." Eric stepped closer. The hum vibrated in his chest. "Is it alive?" "Yes, it listens. It watches. It judges." "Judges what?" She turned to him. "You." Eric froze. The air grew colder. The runes pulsed faster. Then, without warning, the circle flashed. His mind filled with visions, battlefields, blood, screaming voices. His own memories, things he tried to forget. He dropped to his knees. "What is this?" he gasped. Alira knelt beside him. "It sees your soul." He felt exposed, like every part of him was open to the forest. His anger, his pain, his regrets. He saw the moment he lost his squad, the time he failed to protect a child during the war. His failures haunted him, and now they were being watched. Circle dimmed. The hum stopped. Eric could breathe again. Alira placed her hand on his chest. "You carry guilt, but also courage." He looked up at her. "You saw everything?" "I saw truth," she said. "And that is rare." He stood slowly. "So, what now?" She looked at the sky where pale moons were rising. "Now we must run?" "Run? From what?" She looked at him. "They come, hunters. They are not of my kind." Before he could ask more, a sharp howl cut through the forest. It was long, high, and unnatural. Eric's body reacted before his mind. Something primal told him danger. Alira grabbed his arm. "Move." They ran through thick roots and rising fog. They moved fast. Alira never stumbled, never slowed. Eric followed, heart pounding. Behind them, the forest grew louder. Branches snapped, heavy footsteps followed. Not one. Many. Eric looked back. Eyes. Dozens of glowing red eyes. Creatures, tall and thin, with bone-white skin and sharp limbs. They moved like shadows, fast and jerky, their mouths wide with rows of black teeth. "What are they?" Eric shouted. "Flesh thieves," Alira said. "They eat life. They follow power. They followed me. They followed us." They broke through a curtain of vines and found an old stone gate hidden behind roots. Alira pressed her palm to the center. It opened with a grinding sound. "Go!" she shouted. Eric ran through. Alira followed. The gate slammed shut behind them. The air changed. The sound vanished. Inside, it was quiet. A hidden chamber lit by soft blue crystals. The walls were covered with ancient paintings, humans and elf-like figures standing side by side. One picture showed a blue-skinned woman holding a child with glowing eyes. Eric stared at it. Is this? Alira nodded. Long ago, your kind and mine were one. Before war, before forgetting. He turned to her. And now you want that again? I want survival, she said. But more than that, I want a future. Eric stepped closer. You think I can give that to you? I know you can. He didn't know what to say. He felt pulled in every direction, fear, awe, desire, purpose. He had come here by accident. But now, it felt like the forest had been waiting for him all along. Alira stepped close, her silver eyes looking into his. You are not a weapon anymore. You are a seed. Eric blinked. A seed? For something new. From outside, the howls returned. The flesh thieves had found them again. Alira looked at the crystals. We cannot stay here. Eric clenched his fists. Then we fight. Alira smiled. Good. The circle chose well. They stood side by side, two warriors of different worlds. And behind the stone walls, the dark forest waited for their choice. Eric looked around the crystal-lit chamber, searching for anything he could use as a weapon. His gun was long gone, lost with the ship. But these creatures outside, they weren't the type you fought with bullets. He grabbed a thick shard of glowing stone from the wall. It was warm, almost alive, and pulsed with soft blue light. Alira watched him and nodded. The stone accepts you. What does that mean? He asked. She stepped closer, her hand touching his shoulder. You are part of this now. Then the gate shook out. The howls were louder. The flesh thieves were just outside, scratching at the stone with long claws. Their growls echoed through the chamber like voices from a nightmare. Eric moved to the gate. How many? Too many, Alira said calmly. But we have the forest. The crystals on the walls flickered. Alira knelt and placed both hands on the floor. A glow spread out from her palms, crawling across the stones, up the walls, and into the roots above. Eric watched in silence as the roots came to life, twisting, moving, thickening like muscles waking up. The forest was answering her call. Eric held the crystal shard tightly. You control the trees? I speak to them, she said. But they listen to those with heart. The gate cracked. A clawed hand pushed through. Then another. Eric didn't wait. He ran forward and drove the shard deep into the first creature's wrist. The glow from the shard exploded through the flesh thief's arm, burning it from inside. It screeched and pulled back. They hate the stone, Alira said. It burns what they steal. The gate burst open. 5 creatures rushed in, their long limbs twisting as they moved. Eric spun, dodging one and stabbing another through the sheathen chest. The crystal shard flared bright. The creature dropped, twitching, but more came. Alira stood calmly in the center, her eyes closed. Roots from the walls and ceiling dropped down like snakes, wrapping around the flesh thieves' arms and legs, pulling them back. Some were slammed into the stone. Others were crushed. But one got through. It lunged at Alira. Eric threw himself between them, tackling the beast. They rolled across the floor. The creature clawed at his face, but Eric punched it hard, again and again, until his knuckles bled. The shard had fallen. The creature roared, mouth open wide. Then light burst from behind. Alira raised both arms, and the crystal light poured out from her body. The creature froze, its skin cracking. Then it shattered like stone. Eric lay still, breathing hard. Alira knelt beside him. You're hurt. I've had worse, he muttered. She gently touched his chest. A soft glow spread through him. The pain eased. The bleeding stopped. You healed me, he said. No, she replied. The forest did, I asked. He sat up. We can't stay here. There'll be more? She nodded. There is a place. Deeper in. Safe, but dangerous to reach. Show me, he said. We go together. They left the broken chamber behind and slipped through a narrow passage, the roots parting for Alira as she led the way. The path sloped downward, deeper into the earth. Glowing fungi lit their steps. The air became cooler, heavier. After a long walk, they reached a massive underground cavern. At its center stood a single tree, huge and silver, its roots spread wide like a web. It pulsed with life. The bark shimmered like water. The leaves whispered softly even without wind. "This is the life tree," Alira said. "It holds the memory of all our kind. It gives us power, and it can give new life." Eric stepped closer. "What does it need?" She looked at him, serious now. "It needs a promise, a choice." "A bond," he met her gaze. "You mean with me?" "Yes." He looked at the life tree again. It called to him not with words, but with feeling, hope, warmth, destiny. "I don't even understand all of this," he said, "but I know one thing. If this is real, if I can help you, then I won't walk away." Alira reached for his hand. Her fingers trembled. "You already helped," she said. "But now you must become more than yourself." He didn't speak. He simply held her hand tighter. The life tree glowed brighter. And deep in the earth, something ancient began to wake. The life tree pulsed with light. It felt like a heartbeat, strong, steady, calling Eric forward. Alira stood beside him, her hand in his, as the glowing roots began to rise from the ground. They wrapped gently around their feet, soft and warm like vines made of light. "What's happening?" Eric whispered. "The tree is reading you," Alira said. "It wants to see if you are ready." "For what?" "To become part of our future." "They?" Roots moved up his legs, stopping at his chest. Eric felt no fear. The tree wasn't hurting him. It was listening, feeling, remembering. Suddenly, Eric saw flashes inside his mind. 1,000 lifetimes, elf children laughing, men planting trees beside glowing rivers, women with silver eyes singing to the stars, a world before war, before pain. Then he saw fire, machines, soldiers, screaming, death. Then he saw himself, standing beside Alira, holding a child with silver eyes and strong human arms. The tree showed him what could be. When the vision ended, Eric was on his knees, shaking. Alira knelt beside him. "Did it show you?" "Yes," he said, breathing hard. "It showed me everything." "Then you know what's at stake." He looked at her. "I'll do it. I'll protect this, and you." Alira leaned close. Her voice was soft. "Then you must take the seed." She reached into a hollow of the tree and pulled out a small glowing pod. It looked like a pearl wrapped in roots. She held it to his chest. "It's not just a child," she whispered. "It's a new beginning." The pod melted into his skin. Eric gasped. His whole body felt like fire and water at the same time. His veins glowed. His heartbeat matched the life tree. His senses expanded. He could feel the roots beneath the earth, the wind above, the pain of the forest, the hunger of the creatures still hunting them. He fell to the ground, sweat pouring from his body. Alira watched silently. She did not stop it. This was part of the bond. After long minutes, the light faded. Eric sat up slowly. His muscles ached, but something inside had changed. He wasn't just a man anymore. "You're joined," Alira said. "You carry part of us now." He looked at his hands. They glowed faintly. "What does this mean?" "You are stronger, but now the Dark Ones will sense you even more. They will come, in numbers." Eric stood. "Then we fight." "No," she said. "Not yet. You are not ready. You must meet the elders. More of your kind?" Alira looked down. "What's left of them?" "They live in hiding, deep in the forest. They protect the last seed chambers. Without them, there will be no future." He nodded. let's go." As they left the life tree, the ground shook behind them. Eric turned. A crack had opened at the base of the great trunk. Alira's eyes widened. Something woke. From the crack, dark smoke poured out thick and oily. It twisted in the air like a living thing. "No," she whispered. "The old poison. It was trapped, but now it smells you." Eric stepped in front of her. "Is it one of the flesh thieves?" "Worse," she said. "This is their master." From the smoke, a shape formed tall, thin, all shadow and bone. Red eyes opened in the dark and a voice echoed in Eric's mind. "Give me the seed." Eric raised his fists. "Come take it." The shadow paused, then slowly pulled back into the crack. But the message was clear, it would return. Alira looked at Eric, her face pale. "He cannot be killed by weapons, only by will. Only by light. Then we use the tree." "No," she said. "The tree cannot fight, but you can." They moved quickly through the forest, climbing over roots and crossing glowing rivers. Eric felt the land beneath him. It no longer felt strange, it felt alive. Connected to him, they reached a hidden canyon. Inside were tall stone huts covered in vines. Strange blue lights floated in the air. Elders stepped out to greet them. They were thin, old, with silver eyes and skin like polished bark. They looked at Eric, surprised. "He carries the seed," one said. "And the fire," said another. "He is not ready," said a third. Eric stepped forward. "Then make me ready. I'll fight for her. For this world. For our future." The eldest of them nodded. "Then you will enter the trial of roots. If the forest accepts you, we will stand beside you." Eric looked at Alira. She nodded once, proud and quiet. And as the wind stirred the trees, Eric stepped into the ancient ring of roots, ready to face whatever came next. The elders stood in a circle around Eric. Their eyes glowed faintly in the soft blue light of the canyon. Roots moved slowly across the ground, curling into a perfect ring beneath Eric's feet. Alira stood outside the circle, her hands folded, her face still. She said nothing, but Eric could feel her watching him. The eldest spoke. "You have taken the seed. Now you must prove your soul is strong enough to protect it. If you fail, the seed dies with you." Eric nodded once. "I understand." The ground opened below him. He dropped. Darkness swallowed him completely. Number. Sound. No light. Just falling. Then he landed. Soft earth under his boots. Cold air on his face. But this wasn't the canyon anymore. It looked like Earth. A burned village. Bodies in the street. Smoke in the sky. Eric looked around, confused. "This isn't real," he said. But it felt real. He turned and saw her. A young girl. Human. Blood on her shirt. Her eyes wide with fear. "Help me," she whispered. He knew her. She was from his past. A refugee child from the last war. He had tried to save her. He failed. She ran from him, screaming. He chased after her, shouting, "I'm sorry." "I tried." Flames rose from the ground. Smoke burned his lungs. He saw his old squad dead, friends he had trained with, laughed with, all gone. All staring at him like ghosts. "You left us," they said together. Eric dropped to his knees. "I didn't choose this." The world cracked apart. Now he stood in the jungle again. Trees dead. The life tree broken. Alira lying on the ground, her body still, her eyes closed. "No!" He shouted. The shadow stepped from behind a stone, tall, thin, red eyes glowing. "Give up," the shadow whispered. "You are only human. You lose everything you touch." Eric's hands trembled. The shadow came closer. "Let go of the seed. Let go of her." Then he heard her voice, not the shadow's. Alira's. It echoed from deep inside him. "You are not alone." He looked down at his chest. The seed inside him glowed. It pulsed. It believed in him. Eric stood up. He faced the shadow. I've failed before, but I won't fail her. The shadow laughed. You are weak. Eric stepped forward. No, I'm human. I fight when I'm broken. I protect even when I'm afraid. The light inside him burst out. The shadow screamed, twisting, cracking, until it vanished like smoke. The jungle healed. The trees stood tall. The life tree glowed again. Alira opened her eyes and smiled. Then everything vanished in white light. Eric opened his eyes. He was back in the canyon. The elders watched him. Alira stepped forward. He was shaking, sweating. His chest still glowed faintly. The eldest elder nodded. He passed. Alira rushed to him and held his face in her hands. Her touch was warm, real. Eric looked into her silver eyes. I thought I lost you, she said softly. I thought I lost myself, he replied. The elders raised their staffs. Roots rose from the ground and formed a glowing ring around Eric and Alira. The eldest spoke again. The trial has chosen. The forest accepts him. The bond is complete. What does that mean now? Eric asked. It means, said the elder, you are no longer just human. You are the first of something new. A low tremble shook the earth. Far off, a deep sound echoed like thunder. The enemy was coming. Alira took Eric's hand. They will come for us now. For the seed, for the future. Then we make our stand, Eric said. The forest began to glow. Elders raised their arms. Animals cried from the trees. The roots shook with energy. Alira leaned into him. Are you afraid? He smiled. Yes, but I'm still here. Together, they turned toward the rising dark, and the final war began. The sky turned dark. Not from clouds, but from shadow. The enemy had come. Thousands of flesh thieves crawled through the jungle. Their eyes burned red. Their skin was pale like bone. They moved like insects, fast and endless. Above them floated the tall shadow, the one that spoke in Eric's mind. The master of them all died at the edge of the life tree grove. Eric stood with Alira. Behind them, the elders formed a circle around the glowing roots. Young elf warriors, few in number, stood ready with their crystal blades. Even the trees seemed alive, branches twisted into weapons, vines moving like muscles. Eric held a spear made from the life tree's heartwood. It hummed in his hands. It knew him. He looked at Alira. You ready? He asked. She nodded. If we fall as one. The enemy attacked. The flesh thieves crashed into the forest wall. Roots rose to block them. Vines wrapped around there, limbs pulling them down. Crystal shot from the ground like blades. Elves fought hard, but they were few. Eric jumped into the front line, striking with the spear. Every hit sent a pulse of light through the creatures, turning them to dust. He moved fast, burning with new strength. The seed inside him was alive, guiding him, feeding him power. But the enemy kept coming. The shadow floated above, watching. Then it spoke. You carry their hope, human. If you die, they all die with you. Eric shouted back. Then come try. The shadow dropped. It landed with a blast of black smoke. The trees bent backward. Elves were thrown aside. Even Alira fell. Eric stood alone. The shadow walked forward, slow and silent. You are not enough, it said. Eric gripped the spear. Maybe not, but I'm not fighting for myself. I'm fighting for her, for the child, for what comes next. The shadow attacked. Eric blocked the blow, but the force threw him to the ground. The spear flew from his hands. The shadow raised its claw, then a flash. Alira stood between them. Her eyes glowed bright silver. Her hands were lifted. Roots from the life tree rose behind her like wings. You will not take him, she said. The shadow screamed and struck her. She fell. No! Eric shouted. The seed inside him burst open. Light shot from his chest, blinding and hot. His skin glowed. His body rose into the air. His eyes turned white. The shadow reached for him, but couldn't touch him. Eric raised both hands. The forest answered. Every tree lit up. Life Tree glowed like a sun dot, and the shadow melted, screaming, dying, until only ash remained. Silence. The sky cleared. The flesh thieves vanished. Only the forest remained, bright, clean, and alive again. Eric dropped to the ground, breathing hard. His glow faded. He crawled to Alira. She was hurt, but her eyes opened. "Is it done?" she whispered. He nodded. "You're safe." She touched his face. "So is our child." Around them, the elders bowed. The life tree's roots pulsed gently. A single leaf fell into Alira's hand, silver, warm. "It has begun," she said softly. Eric held her close. "What now?" "We build," she said. "We grow together." And as the sun rose over the healing forest, Eric finally understood. He hadn't just saved her. He had become part of something greater, a new beginning.